Hey go getter! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Learning Hub where we talk all things career development, personal branding, and everything in between. I'd like to acknowledge everyone who's supporting this channel. Thank you so much for liking the videos, for subscribing, for sharing with your friends. I see you and I really appreciate. So if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome to the family. And in today's video, we are going to talk about the things that you need to take care of before you start writing or drafting your curriculum vitae. So actually the first thing that you need to do is to make a preliminary research. So for any job that you want to apply for, make sure that you do your homework. What do I mean by this? For example, if I want to apply for a position as a data scientist, I go on Google or on LinkedIn and then I start searching for that position, and then I go through the job requirements from different companies, and then I start making my list of the recurring words, the recurring skills that are required in different companies. This helps me to prepare, okay, what are companies actually looking for? What do I have here? What are the keywords that are constantly being repeated? For example, for a data scientist, if I'm to check maybe 5 job adverts, I can see that maybe they want someone who is proficient in Python, someone who knows how to analyze data with R, etc. So it just depends with the industry. But what I would like to advise you is to take advantage of other job advertisements for the role that you're applying for, so that you are well informed on the things that you should be focusing on while you start writing your CV. Okay, one thing I can tell you is a CV doesn't necessarily get you a job, but it helps you to get those interviews, so that when you get the chance to have that interview, you can now really express or convince the recruiter why you are the best fit for the job, right? So the whole idea of a CV is to make it short and sweet. Make sure, guys, that it's long enough to cover the subject, but short enough to make it interesting, because recruiters do not have time. Imagine for one job, for one open position, maybe 500 applications come in. You think they have time to read 5 pages of a CV? Definitely not. So make sure that you get it right the first time. The first impression matters. The overall outlook of the CV, the whole structure, it has to be neat, it has to be easy to read and navigate through your CV, be it the font that you're going to use, be it how you rearrange the headings of the CV. Everything just has to look on point, because they don't have time for all that. So put the necessary things in the CV. So what are the necessary things that you need to put in a CV? Of course, you have to put your name, and when it comes to your contact details, please do not put things that are irrelevant. Anything that does not give you a competitive advantage when applying for that position, remove it. So for the contact details, I would advise you to add your name, your email address, your home address. You don't have to specifically mention that number 7, but you can just say maybe the city and the country where you are in, and your LinkedIn URL. You don't have to put your marital status. You don't have to put your license number or your ID number on your CV. You are just wasting time, I think. And then when it comes to putting a picture, yes or no, this is highly dependent on the country that you are in. For example, if you're in German, some companies do require you to have a CV that has your picture, and then some companies don't mind at all. When it comes to the US, they don't even need a CV with a picture, so it just depends. Some people might discriminate you based on skin color, but generally a CV with a good picture actually gives a whole good aesthetic on your CV. So it really depends where you're applying to and the goal of the CV, right? And when you're writing the CV, make sure that you're using a Word compliant system, for example, Microsoft Word or Google. Because Some companies use ATS checkers to screen the CVs. ATS means automated tracking system. So if your CV is not ATS compliant, it will get rejected, and that means it will not be read by an HR personnel. So if you have your CV, I'm going to put a link in the description of this video so that you can maybe upload your CV and check for ATS compliance, and it will actually give you a score of your CV. So some companies just say maybe below this bandwidth 75, those CVs are not going to be evaluated, and above 75 the HR will then start screening who did what, who included what in the CV. And then the other thing that you need to include in the CV is your education, your PhD, your master's, your bachelor, maybe your A-level certificate. But just know that if you have a master's, now there's no need for you to include your A-level certificate, honestly. If you have your bachelor, maybe then you can include your A-levels. You can also include your certificates, like just mentioning that maybe I did a course with MIT about machine learning, and this is the certificate I got. So you can mention your certificates and awards, the ones that are relevant for the job that you're applying for. Okay, and then you can go on to include the work experience section. So when you're writing the work experience section, make sure that you write it in reverse chronological order, which means you're starting with the most recent job that you had, and include the start date, the end date, the position that you held, and include your responsibilities that you had in, maybe describe them in 3 to 4 bullet points, but make sure you're using the action verbs. And if you can quantify your achievements, make sure you do so, because ATS checkers are looking for quantified responsibilities. So please try by all means to quantify if you can. Okay, and then when it comes to references, I think it's all up to you. My CV doesn't have references, but if you feel the need to include them, maybe you can include them. Maybe you can, maybe not. And when it comes to hobbies and interests, stay away from cliches. Only add hobbies and interests that are related to the job. For example, maybe you're applying for a publication job. You can now express your interest in writing, and maybe you can tell them that you actually have your own blog running, but there's no need for you to mention cooking when it comes to a position of publishing books or something. That's just my opinion. Maybe you're applying for a position as a media manager. You can mention maybe photography as a hobby or videography, because these things are related. So that was the checklist. We can go through the rundown again. Include the education section, your contact details, and the work experience. References are optional. Hobbies and interests, make sure you put the ones that are related to the job that you're applying for. Otherwise, do not include them. So there you have all the information that you need. Oh yeah, and you can include your awards and certifications. If you do have them, make sure you include them, and even extracurricular activities, maybe your club activities, or if you started an organization, you can also put it in the CV. This brings us to the end of this video. I really hope you found it useful, and now you know where to start if you want to craft your own CV. In case you're still having difficulties on that one, you're welcome to come to Writing Services. This is our specialty. So thank you for watching this video, and until we meet again in the next one, be safe and well in the world. Bye.